What's up, guys, and welcome back to Wake Up Entertainment. So, there is a very big problem that is occurring at the Senzo Meyiwa trial, and it is that a subs officer, that is a South Africa Police Service officer, Colonel Stein, is testifying on data from Vodacom. The problem that is there is that this guy is a police officer, not a data expert from Vodacom. So why should he be testifying on data that he knows nothing about?
But another thing, my lords. This witness is from SAPS, it's not from Vodacom. So he's not competent to testify on a document that comes from Vodacom. That is what the court has always been saying when we wanted to introduce information. Then the court says, no, but this witness cannot testify on that document.
Mr. Misi, this is for my own understanding.
Yes, my lord.
Fine. So don't worry about that witness.
Therefore, will request, my lord, that if this witness were to get into this document, I'm going to submit that is not competent. And I'm aligning that with the reasoning of the court that nobody can testify in a document that they did not generate.
No problem.
I'm going to request the court, therefore, to summon an expert from Vodacom to come and testify on the strength of this document.
We'll call Pinky again. Pinky, thank him. Yeah, fine, no problem.
I think that will be good, my lord.
But you see, this witness, evidence, he says he fished out this information from a document which is in his possession.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yes.
That's the point.
But he can't testify on this document. He can't, because this is not his creation.
No. Unless I don't understand English.
My English is very plain. It's simple,
yeah, I have 5 courses in English. This witness says he fished out this information from a document which is in his possession. That's all.
But the document that is from Vodacom.
Yes.
It is not his document. It is not his document. So he can't testify in a document which is not his.
Well, I'm overruling you.
Thank you, madam.
Fine. Because all of us are using documents from Vodacom, so I don't see the problem. And you, hello?
Here is the exact page.
Is this the same page like this one?
It's the same page.
So this is the problem that is there at the courtroom. And as far as I know, a witness should testify about what they saw or did. About what you saw, it might have been something that you witnessed. What you did are the investigations that you did. Then you start testifying about that. So when we look at personal knowledge, for example, it's what they directly saw, heard, or experienced. This is first-hand knowledge. So in court, what we want are facts, not opinions. Witnesses are typically restricted to stating facts, not giving their opinions or interpretations unless they are a qualified expert or witness. But unfortunately for Colonel Stein, he is not a qualified expert in this matter of interpreting this Vodacom data. So what Colonel Stein is doing is interpreting data generated by Vodacom systems, and this is not the same as witnessing an event. So Advocate Mnisi is arguing that he is not qualified to interpret this data, and he did not even generate it. So let's look at some of the exceptions that are there in law. For example, there are exceptions like if Colonel Stein is qualified as an expert in cell phone data analysis, he might be allowed to give his interpretations. However, even as an expert, he must establish a foundation for his expertise and explain the basis for his interpretations. And the challenge here with Colonel Stein is that we may end up with hearsay evidence if he is testifying information provided by Vodacom. This evidence would end up being inadmissible. So I strongly agree with Advocate Mnisi's move to demand for Vodacom representatives to testify this data's authenticity and reliability. It is actually to make sure that it is not being tampered with or it is not being misinterpreted. Unfortunately, you all heard Judge Rata saying, "I'm overruling you." Now, what does that mean when a judge is saying, "I'm overruling you"? It means that the judge is saying, "I'm disagreeing with you," or your objection or argument, whatever it is. So Advocate Mnisi had made an objection or the argument that he was making. So Judge Rata, after listening to both sides or after assessing, he then made a ruling to say, no, no, I'm disagreeing with you and I'm not going to allow whatever that you're saying. Or in essence, he was saying his argument, Advocate Mnisi, is not valid. So it said, at least from my view, that Judge Rata actually saw Advocate Mnisi's argument as not valid. Because the way I see it is that this is like a weakness for the prosecution to rely on Colonel Stein's interpretation of this Vodacom data. So one of the issues that occurred is that the defense statement that they received, it came from the state and not Vodacom itself. So obviously there are questions here about the chain of custody. And it is from that document that this witness then extracted the information that he is now using in his testimony. Another thing that actually occurred was that there was a discrepancy in document presentation. So Colonel Stein's document contained like multiple numbers, whereas the document he was being shown only contained one number, and this actually showed like a major inconsistency. And this inconsistency could actually explain the discrepancies that Advocate Mnisi had been pointing about regarding tower locations. So to me, this damages the witness's credibility, as it shows that he has been testifying using a document that is different to the one that is being presented in court. So here let's analyze Judge Rata's overruling. While it seems like abrupt, it can be justified based on a few potential legal principles and like practical considerations. Judge Rata likely determined that Vodacom data, regardless of who presented it, was relevant to the case. Obviously, Advocate Mnisi raised a valid point about the witness's expertise, but Judge Rata might have deemed the data itself to be admissible, even if the witness's interpretation was subject to scrutiny. So these trials are very complex and involve large volumes of data requiring Vodacom representatives to testify about every piece of data. That's why you also ended up hearing Judge Rata saying, we are all using data from Vodacom anyway. So the challenge is that we may end up needing Vodacom experts to be interpreting each and every data that is in front of everyone. So Judge Rata ended up opting for a more efficient approach to allow the witness to present the data, whilst at the same time acknowledging the defense's concerns about interpretation. So my verdict, like, what do I think about Judge Rata going with an efficient move and overruling Advocate Mnisi? It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one, and I would leave that one to the law experts to deal with it. Tell me what you think, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.